as often as
They
now?
were embalmed, yes. They were embalmed usually in the home without taking the body out of the home.
By the undertaker.
First work I did of that type was done in that way, in the home, right in the home. The funeral director took his equipment to the house and performed the work right there, and dressed the body and put it in a casket that he brought to the house, laid out right there. Well, that's what they did.
I guess
Unless they wanted immediate burial without embalming, and no viewing or anything like that, and then that was done too.
Were the laws differently enforced in those days?
Not necessarily.
Like the burial laws?
I don't think so. I don't think the laws have been changed that much.
So do the laws require burial in a coffin or a casket?
Not really. No. Those requirements are mostly requirements of the cemetery in which the body is to be interred.
So the earlier cemeteries in this area would have been down here, right? On front, the very first town cemetery.
Well, the very first would be probably right down there, then up around St. Peter's Church. Over in back of the Episcopal Church, they have early cemeteries.
I guess the First Methodist had one. But
they had one too. That's right, in back of their church, and that was done away with. They simply removed some of the bodies and just graded over the rest of it that they couldn't identify.
Do you have any idea where they moved them to?
No, I'm not familiar with that. I don't think they moved very few. I think they moved the stones, but not the bodies necessarily.
Was it more customary to bury your dead in church cemeteries in the old days, or is that?
That was the original way it was for the most part. Most of the cemeteries were affiliated with churches, yes. Most any little country church had a cemetery beside it or in back somewhere. Yes.
So maybe when it got a little more crowded in towns, they had to move out?
Well, they had to, as population grew and the death rate increased, due to the increase of the population, then they had to develop new cemeteries. Of course, Redstone's a very old cemetery up on the hill up here, and Bridgeport Cemetery in the south side is very old.
Is Bridgeport still used?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah.
In Redstone, not a lot, but it's still used.
It's used, yes.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Historical Society. You started it, you and some friends, I guess, started it in
That's right.
1960?
Around the early 60s. I forget the exact date without looking that up.
Why did you start it?
We saw a need for it here. We thought the town had a good bit of history that should be and could be preserved, attract interest to the town and help develop the town in that way. Some of those that thought early on were Earl Story. You had a stationery and card shop, in the square, and then Dr. Henry Wilkins, one of the dentists in town, myself, and a few others. Yeah, we saw a need for it. So we talked about it, got some other people interested in it, and we finally got a charter. Had attorney Bob Webster help us get it chartered. And we had our first meeting in the basement of the First National Bank building.
Well,
that's right.
Basement?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, he had a basement room, and I remember he bought about 50 or 60 chairs from me, which we equipped in that room, and we started to meet there. That's where it met.
Huh. Is that room still used for anything?
Well, no, I think the building's closed
well, now. It's closed.
I don't think it's used, not that I know of, not any use. The last several years, unless the bank used it for their own purposes.
So once you started the society, did you have regular meetings, or?
Oh, we met about once a month.
What did you do at your meetings?
Oh, we discuss possible projects that we could do, and as time went on, eventually acquired the castle and things like that.
Was that a surprise, the castle part of it?
A little bit of a surprise. The Bowman family approached us regarding taking over the building.
Oh, they did?
Yes, they did. That's right.
and then the county.
That's
bought it.
right, county got involved, that's right.
Has the county owned the castle from the start, whenever it was turned over? Or?
I think so. I think they have. Yes.
Earlier, before we started, I was asking you about your theory of where the Fort Bird was located. Why do you think it was located where the castle is today?
Well, that's where the castle is situated is the top of the level there, or the level top of the hill. I mean, the hill, if you look at the terrain, it drops down on both sides of the castle, to the left and to the right. And it's unlikely, I think the castle terrain is more or less the normal terrain. I doubt that there's been much grading done there from at the time it was built. I don't think there's been much grading. I would expect the fort to be built at the highest point of the hill, and I think on level ground, and due to the size of the fort and so forth, it would cover, I think, most of the ground that the castle now occupies. But the hill